packed here at Old Georgian Sports Lab in Harare. I'm just going to say welcome and a big hello to my wonderful people on my right hand side here. Matthew Tambling, the Boxinator. We've got our guest speaker tonight, Alistair Chinzo. They call him Listaz. He's going to be covering our soccer. And then the man, the funniest man in Zimbabwe, Jan Fred. Right, so we're going to be covering, as I said, local, national, international sport. Matthew Tambling, we're going to get straight into it. School sport. We were at Alenic this afternoon. Some exciting stuff for that sevens. And Liv Middleton, what a legend.
What a legend. Brilliantly organized. Congratulations to that man. It is so great to see our sevens being played in the schools. And it is so great that they are getting stuck into that and well organized. Well done, my man.
Just on the sevens quickly, Matt, we know that Liam's come and done a big job there at Atlantic. We can see, I mean, the skill level from those kids was outstanding. Finishing, obviously, on the wings as well, looking for the gaps, they're looking for space. You can see his involvement there has been a massive influence to Atlantic in the last couple of years.
I think they've just gone from strength to strength, and yeah, I had a crack at him about them changing their mascot, but you know what it is, but yeah, great man, brilliant interview, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Well, Moxie, we're talking quickly as well about the St. John's Rugby. That's coming up. There's big rugby coming up. Tell us all about it.
Big derbies coming up, and of course the St. John's Derby tournament is something that everyone is expecting, and they're looking forward to seeing the schools clash. And some of them have some unfinished business from the previous season, so they're looking forward to having
Going back to unfinished business. Listen, didn't you go to Churchill?
I went to Churchill. I was a bulldog, proud bulldog.
What age did you leave there? Are you still there? If you say you're 14.
We're getting on to the Paramount Garments Under 20 League, which is Churchill. Certainly, Churchill Pitbulls are dominating. I've watched those boys all the way through. Great team, Jan. Great team. We were talking just quickly. Let's go back to schools. Talking about St. George's as well as some athletics as well, which you're going to cover for us.
Yeah, St. George's, they've been good enough to take on the junior end, because you know, usually we talk about the first teams in high school. I know that there's a couple of under 16 sides now getting together at St. George's, and they're going to have their own pre-season tournament there. Brilliant stuff. We're getting into athletic season, great for rugby. Great for rugby buggers, because now we can get those boys nice and fit, work on their explosiveness, agility, etc. And yeah, I don't know about you, but you know, I would love to hear from our audience out there about any records that we've broken at their various schools, because I know that, you know, it's lovely to see when a Peterhouse record gets broken, they challenge a Prince Edward one or a Churchill one. Churchill very good at the sack race, I think.
Churchill very good. But the problem is, every time Churchill beats somebody, people are looking to see their birth certificates. So I personally...
You heard you're playing for the under 21s.
You know, I've got to second that, because every time as a newcomer back into Zim after 6-7 years, I was involved in Prince Edward first team, you know, for a bit, and whenever Churchill beat somebody, it was okay, show us your birth certificates. I think we need to start taking it on the chin and saying, okay, look, not a bad team, well done boys, let's move on, they've done a great job. And let me tell you, that Pitbulls team that's coming through is brilliant.
Look, I think, Rob, on that, if the guys can nip it in the bud and the coaches can step up and guys can be serious about it and honest, instead of you know, maybe doing it, why not come out and say, look, where can you prove us wrong? Here's our certificates. Here's everything you need to know. Yeah. We are absolutely on the right side of this. Prove us wrong. You go out and tell us that we're not doing that. So kill this, you know, this thing that people say, this and that about Churchill. Why not just come out and say, look, there it is. Yeah. What do you want to know about us? Where do you want to go to the hospital and see where the child was born? Just to kill that stigma. Because it's one of the things that kills that is out there, that kills the stigma of how good Churchill are. So instead of letting it spoil the game, why can't we just allow it to say, right guys, how can we prove that this can be done correctly, so that there's a protocol for the sport? And I think that goes back to Zim Rugby, it goes back to how everything's organized. You can't just blame the player. The guy wants to play rugby. Let him play rugby, but you give him the rules and make sure he follows by it. So let's go back to Zim Rugby or whoever we need to go back to, and let's set up a rules and a protocol so that there can't be a grey area.
Just take that mic and drop it. Well,
I want to add to that. I think it's very important that Churchill own this. Okay, because whether they like it or not, whether their old boys and stuff like it or not, this is something that's out there. You can't just say, everybody stop, don't be mean to us. It doesn't work like that, if you know what I mean. So they've got to own it, okay, and the onus, unfortunately, is on them to now just prove everybody right. It's because they're going to get accusations. Guys, they're going to get accusations. As soon as they have an unbelievable star, the sad thing is whether he's the right age or not, they're going to get this. So own it. Now they've got to start playing squeaky clean, use this opportunity. Like Matthew said, I think that they have a wonderful opportunity now, because they can also just let the buzz be the buzz and everyone focus on that while they get on with the rugby.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, but they've got to own it.
Listaz is going to be dropped from the team.
Sorry, Banter Analyst.
So on Banter, we're going to be covering local sport, specifically school sport, trying to get involved in 3 weeks' time. We're going to be doing it live at Hellenic. That's going to be absolutely incredible on the 30th of March. You've got to stay tuned, you've got to get down there, pop in, be part of our live audience. It's going to be awesome. Right, boys, straight into quickly local sport. Mox, the Paramount Garments Under-20 Rugby final happening this weekend.
Yeah, it's we wish that it happened earlier, because now already, as you can see, even outside, we can see certain things starting to take shape.
True story.
Yeah, and you know, I wish that the final had been played the past weekend, and not this coming weekend, where you also have the Checker to Touch Ball as well. So a lot of people would have loved to, you know, just relax after watching a spectacular final between the Pitbulls and All Georgians. So the semi-finals were absolutely a cracker. I mean, you had 29-8 to All Georgians against All Hararians, and then you had 38-0, I think it was, for Pitbulls against Harare Sports Club. So you can see already Pitbulls are really on track to be the #1 contenders for the championship. But at the same time, All Georgians has come to the party. But now, what happens when all those players are being sent to now being called to camp? What happens now to those teams?
Okay, so the games this weekend, what time are they playing?
I haven't gotten the times yet, but I understand it's mostly going to be in the afternoon.
At OGs.
Yeah, at OGs.
Okay, fantastic.
And again, yeah, that's
Perfect setting for
they've said that the Zim squad aren't allowed to play in the final, and it's very unfortunate. You know, it doesn't make much sense to us. Maybe Zim Rugby can come back and explain themselves, or let us know what the reason was for having a final and saying, sorry, all the Zim guys can't play. You know, it's just unfortunate, because, you know, we really want to see those kids perform at the peak of Zimbabwe rugby and then go into the international.
Let's be honest, as a rugby player, we've all played rugby, most of us. When you get to a final, you want to play the final. You've done the hard yards, you've worked hard, you've grafted to get to that final, and then you get pulled out. A bit of a bitter taste again.
Yeah, I think, look, I don't know what the thing is behind that. Maybe, like Matt says, a little bit of context would be good, but the coaches have got their reasons. He's not going to pick a team that's going to, you know, bite him later. But in my mind, is if a guy's playing in a final and he wins the final, what a great experience. I mean, surely you need those experiences, even if it's just club rugby. We need those guys to learn how to win finals, even if it's a local guy, and then you take that into Zim. So they've got their reasons. We're not in the team, so guys, let's also give the coaches their due. He's not going to do things to undermine his own team.
Agreed, John.
The coach is going to do
would like is more information, so that there is none of this hearsay on social media, you know, whatever. Give us a clear directive, what's going on, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and then we go from there.
Right, so we're going to have a quick break. We've got national sport coming up after this. Under 50s, World Cup cricket 50s, they beat West Indies yesterday. Brilliant stuff. We'll be covering that, as well as we're looking at the Currie Cup. Goshawks preparing for their games, and the Netherlands cricket coming up to Zimbabwe. Catch you after the break. Welcome back to Zimbabwe Banter, episode 2. My name's Robbie Durant, and we're talking national sport, and we're talking the Zim Rugby side has now created a Goshawk side in South Africa. It was a heated debate last week. I'm going to come to you, Mox. and just discuss a little bit about this. We've separated the two men in between you on either side, just to say, listen, boys, calm down. But let's talk about it. There's a lot of heat. I mean, if you think about it, you're training for so long and then you just don't get to play. I think this is the right way to do it, where you're giving the guys an opportunity that have trained.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you need that intermediary level where you can have players come in and give them an opportunity to showcase what they got, if they can make it to the actual first the national team. And the Goshawks offer that opportunity for players to actually come through, and those are our probables and possibles that could actually be part of what we want to see in the coming years in terms of rugby for Zimbabwe. Now, my biggest worry is selection. How will the selection criteria, how will the process go this time around? Where will we be selecting from? Is it still a youthful side? Don't we need some experience? And, you know, because that big match experience does come into play when you've got players, especially for those big matches. You know, you've got your...
No, yeah, no.
You got your games against some really big teams, Kenya, you know, stuff like that, Victoria Cup and stuff like that. You know, you want players who understand the game at that international level.
Well, let me tell you, playing in South Africa, you know that Division 1 is like playing for a Currie Cup division when you're going overseas. Jan, you've played in South Africa. Sending a very youthful side with not a lot of experience, it's quite a dangerous gun to pull with playing against a South African Division 1 side who are very strong.
Yeah, I do think it is a bit of a risk if you're going to go full on youth, but if I know Dorsey and I know how they operate, there will be the one or two experienced heads. I think there's a bit of a stigma that Zim's got to start getting used to. Playing in the Currie Cup, guys, the guys who've been there before have got some valuable experience, and these youngsters are going to pick up some vital lessons for their rugby going forward. How they pick it, that's up to the coaches, because what they want to do is when it comes time for Sables, there's no excuses. You're not owing anybody loyalty points, nothing. The best will play, and the coach is going to, whether a guy has trained hard or a guy has trained for one day, but if that guy who's trained for one day is going to benefit Zimbabwe, he must play. End of story. And the Goshawks, if their idea is to now give Oaks opportunity, all I can say to those players is, guys, okay, you've been given your opportunity, take it. You don't take your opportunity, you can't come back and say, but this. Sure. You given an opportunity. You're now playing TV games. You're playing against provincial sides. And guys, South Africa, whether you like it or not, they have got one of the biggest player bases in the world. So those Oaks that are playing Currie Cup, I mean, their school sides, let's face it, our top schools cannot even compete against their top 10 second teams.
Yeah. Well, that being said,
and so we've got to respect.
Craven Week, though, yeah. When we had the old Prince Edward, we were, and if we can bring that back to where we were, and then we're feeding into a proper Zimbabwe squad and a proper Zimbabwe system, and Dawson has done so well to get it to that point. I believe we're on the right track. Yeah. I think you're 100% right.
Matt, I think you are right, but also we've got to also be realistic. Like, rugby in South Africa is not just professional Currie Cups, URC, what. Their schools are almost professional sides. You go there, those Oaks are getting given nutrition, full-on scholarships.
Steroids.
Bomb squad.
Gary Tuckman said no.
Yeah, that explains why they're world champions.
But
yeah,
Matt, they're world champions, and it's testament to what they do. And they have now embraced the whole transformation thing. So they're not just going with their elitist attitude, with their elitist top schools. They are digging out diamonds in the rough from underprivileged areas, and they're building systems. It's not just about finding the odd guy. They've got a system now to start finding these guys. It is tough, but South Africa, and so now when we go as little Zimbabwe, where technically we are as big as a minor province in South Africa rugby-wise, now we're going to compete and we want to be at the best. We have to start showing what Zimbabweans can do. And I can tell you now, guys, we are not South Africans. We have got our own flavor. We've got the own way of doing things. And so if we try and mimic what they do, it's going to just bite us. Everyone a couple of years ago was trying to play like the All Blacks. Everyone was trying this. expansive stuff. And look what happened to Alistair Coetzee in his box. They got clapped 57 points twice in 1 year.
But I think
But you stick to your flavour.
Mimicking what they've done with their schoolboy rugby, going for the government schools, putting money and getting the children, because that's where the numbers are. There are children that we need to get into we can't just come from the northern suburbs and say we've got a brilliant team. We need to get into the government schools. We need our flow of players to come from there. We need to get
well, to back up what Jan said, there is last year they had a World Cup or the best schools all came together from all over the world. Grey College won that, and they sent their under 17s. So when we talk about
team, is this?
when we talk about quality, we know that schoolboy rugby in South Africa has got all what it takes. But we're building a Zimbabwe team, and a little bit of youth, giving those guys an opportunity. We've all spoken about it. It's the best thing to do. We're going to move on quickly.
Just one last thing on that is, yes, Matt, you said that we've got to take lessons from South Africa, 100%. We need to see how they've done it. But what they do between the four lines, we've got to do it our way.
Yeah, the
It's
varsity
not
cup is crazy.
their situation, their struggles are not our struggles. Okay, what happens in South Africa, their history is not our history. We've got our own. We're traveling our own path, and we've got to make it relevant to us. And then when we start talking about the kids and so on at the government schools, we've got to give them role models. And my challenge to the Goshawk players out there, you and the Sables players have to be those role models, guys. You've got to step up to the plate. You've got to start performing. This is the pressure that we as the public want from you players. Get up there and start inspiring some youngster, because we want Zim Oaks to play for Zim. We don't want Oaks to go and play for other countries. I don't want David Dentons and Sebastian Negris. I don't want to hear that rubbish. I want them to play for Zim. I love this country, and this is where Oaks must start getting stuck in.
Well, that's passion, and as you know, that one pub where it's all about passion. There's opinionated, and that's the way to go. That's how we get it out. That's how we spill the beans, and that's how we make it good. And that's what's going to be good listening. Right, big stuff. Zim over 50s, should I say, are playing at the World Cup in Cape Town. They beat West Indies, boys.
They did beat West Indies.
They beat West Indies yesterday. There's talk of them getting up into the final against South Africa. They could topple South Africa. They've come close to South Africa before.
Rob, it's a brilliant team. Let's be honest. If you look at who they've drafted and what they've done, they have brought in unbelievable players from all over the world, and they totally deserve it. Good luck to them, and let's back Zimbabwe. Come on.
All they need to do is play some soccer and warm up. Run us through that. How would that
Soccer and warm up.
Very quickly as well, so good luck to the boys in Cape Town. The Bugway Banter is right behind you. Also check out Zim versus Netherlands, that's coming up. Jan, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
That's cricket coming up, which is exciting. We did well against Ireland.
Look, I would love for us to start performing like that against the Indians and all that. But their budgets and their facilities and so on. Again, our unique situation. What Ireland did, we're in the same situation as Ireland. We've got similar struggles, etc. Netherlands are another one, and it's epic. What the people of Zimbabwe did at those stadiums to fill them up, to get behind the boys, it was epic cricket, guys. And it went down to the last over in all the games. That's what you want. And the Netherlands one, they are getting ready to go down south after they play against us. So, if they come up here, we give them a good spanking. Then they go down south and then they beat South Africa. Absolutely. Well, boys, that's what we want.
Let's talk as well about Dirk Verdun. He's just coming to the Zimbabwe fray as the general manager. Doing fantastic work, Matt. So you can see how things are turning around if managed properly.
Yeah, well, look, Netherlands are going to be a very good test of their abilities. Netherlands have done very well. We lost to them in the World Cup, so let's hope that we can win the series. Just to pull it back, we beat them in the series when they came to play in Zim. They've got some amazing players. And Jan, you know what? Half of them, when they go to South Africa, will be able to talk the same language. Because at least Austrians are I don't know if they know how to talk Danish, but anyway, you know what? We can all do with what we get. So,
there's a wonderful neutral phrase in Afrikaans. It's Jania. Yes, no. Yes, no.
On that point, Jania, Bugway Banter coming back. We're going to be covering international sport happening. We all know what hell happened to Man United.
Oh dear.
We're going to introduce our guest as well, Listaz, a legend. He's been overseas for a long time. He knows his soccer. We Club, the home of
Barbwe Banter.
Barbwe Banter. I'm going to watch out what I say. But if you look how lovely it's starting to look here, thank you to one of our legends, Jan Ferreira, and making it look special, and all these rugby jerseys. Guys, we're now into international sport. Now this is where it gets hot off the press. Soccer. I'm going to introduce Listaz. Listaz, first of all, welcome to Barbwe Banter.
Thank you guys.
Yay! And well done this weekend.
Oh, no. 7 up? No?
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been in the UK, you're a soccer fan.
Yeah, I've been a Man United fan. First of all, before we get anyway. Just so we know, it just shows loyalty, you know. Basically, I've supported football. I've watched football since I was 6. I started supporting Man United in '93. You know, the Ian Wright, not Ian Wright. Lee Sharp, Ryan Giggs, Eric Cantona era. Started supporting Man United in '93. Up to now, I'm a staunch supporter. What happened on the weekend, basically, I think that was down to complacency. Man United have been on a good run. You know, they're the team with the most wins in Europe, in all leagues, all 5 leagues in Europe. They've got the most wins. Probably have the most goals scored since after the World Cup. They've scored the most Premier League goals, aside from the weekend.
Which then evened it out.
I think they had negative figures points to
They were like 300 a
Oh yeah, that was.
I'm listening.
So they've got those stats. They've obviously our first 2 games were really bad. We lost Brentford, Brighton as well. So we sort of like picked it up after that and just started playing some really lovely football. We went to Man City and lost. Well, we lost 6-2 in the end, but. I think what happened at the weekend, they are terrible.
Apparently, all the heaviest losses have been 7-0.
7-0. Okay, they talk about
All of them.
It's been a long time, like since
1931.
the weekend up to today. People have been talking about Man United leaving, losing 7-0 to Liverpool, but they don't look at Liverpool lost 7-2 to Aston Villa. That didn't last long. Lasted a day, and then people forgot about it. But because it's Manchester United against Liverpool, which is a rivalry, it's a massive rivalry. It's going to be talked about, you know, for the foreseeable future.
How do they bounce back next week? Obviously, it's a 7-0 down. Bouncing back is a good one. Tough one.
Personally, I think we're going to win the next game because, you know, our coach Eric Ten Hag, he's not a joker. He's not one of those like maybe or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, he's just going to pamper his players. I don't think our manager is that guy. So he's not going to tolerate that because that's 7 goals in 45 minutes of football. That's unacceptable. Yeah.
So I watched the post-match breakdown on Gary Neville.
Yeah.
I mean, he got into it. Yes, he was trying to defend Manchester United's honour, but I'm not the biggest football supporter. But when you get 5-0 down, what are your senior players saying to your other guys? How do you prevent it from becoming an embarrassment? And that's what he was saying. He's like, guys, when it gets to this, what are the senior players doing? Yes, Ten Hag has been doing well and so on and so forth. But the fact that it got so bad with such a quality side, okay, yes, Liverpool have not had their best season, so they owed us a good performance. But for Manchester United to be that shocking, I don't know.
Bear in mind, this is the exact same team that played against Barcelona, who do not lose games, right? They do not concede goals, and over 2 legs, we beat them.
But would you be concerned about your leadership quality if they can let a game get to 7-0? Because yes, Manchester United, they played brilliant against Barcelona, so that's how good they are. Yeah. But now Liverpool showing them how bad they can be. And
I'll be
asking a tough question.
Yeah, no. I'll give you an answer to that. I wouldn't be concerned,
okay,
right? Because I can try to defend them and say, you know what, they've played a game every 3 days for the last, I don't know how many weeks.
Okay.
That's a lot. They're fatigued, everything. Fair enough.
But have Liverpool also played every 3 days?
Liverpool are not in every cup,
Yeah, but in
by
all
the way.
honesty, when a game's running away like that, we've all been in those rugby matches. Jan, especially you.
No, I played for Busters. I didn't.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We were the ones running away with the game. We know what it's like when people get weak. So, you know, it's easy. Once they get blown away, you know, 5, 6, 7 tries, it's just hard to come back. It's just...
What did Jose Mourinho say?
It's easier.
It's
what?
It's better to lose 1-0 in 7 games than to lose 7-0 in 1 game.
But do the women agree?
Let's leave it at that. We have got a question from one of our audience.
Cool. So maybe to our guest speaker, I just wanted to check in terms of what is your comment or view in terms of the upcoming Real Madrid and Liverpool game next week in the Champions League. Thank you.
Right, I'll answer that one. First of all, Real Madrid are at home, the Santiago Bernabeu. I would be surprised if Liverpool scored a goal in there, because I think they've used up so much energy to try and beat Manchester United.
Well, it takes a lot to beat someone 7-0.
It takes a lot. But I reckon that's going to be a 3-1, 3-2 or something scoreline, because Real Madrid, obviously, they're leading 5-2 on aggregate. So they just actually don't need to win the game.
5 away goals.
5 away goals. Unfortunately, that doesn't count now, these days.
So I'm from the 80s.
Mister, do you have an idea of the schedule right now, or the table?
What I know is Manchester City are going to play Leipzig. I think that was like a 1-0 or 2-1. I'm not too sure. I'll have a look. Liverpool are going away to the Santiago Bernabeu. They're 5-2 down from Anfield. So
Better than 7-0.
better than 7-0. But what's going to happen is they're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
We're still in the Premier League title race.
Yes.
And Liverpool are nowhere near it.
Well,
So
man, it's been good to chat to you as well, just to get the ideas of soccer and giving us your ideas, maybe as well, just on the rules.
Can I go back? Yeah, so Prince Edward have brought back the CODCO, or whatever, dairy board. So on that note, I saw on the flyer that they said each team needs to pay $100. I don't know if that is the way to go. I don't know, maybe one of the bigger companies or something around Zimbabwe needs to step in and say, no, let's not do that. But again, if you really want your team in there and you have got real rugby players, having to take something out of your pocket and pay for a team is also something that is not just, hey, you're in this thing, let's just go, and then you get these 100-0 score lines. So there is a bit of, you know, this and that. Maybe it's just a talking point, you know, going forward to say, is that the right way to go? Is the way they choose who they're bringing into the dairy board or the Prince Edward Rugby, whatever it is, that at least they've stepped up. We were talking about it last week, saying, you know, it's a pity Prince Edward have lost it. Let's hope they do bring it back. They've done it. So let's give them their dues. They've done what we've asked as far as the people around social media. So let's just hope they do good. Let's hope that they have got to where we need them to get to, and let's hope all of these government teams can step up. So it's a very good question, and we do back Prince Edward and really hope that they do a good job.
Well, it's Prince Edward's 125 this year as well, yeah, which is a big year. They're talking about obviously a lot of the junior teams coming through. Let's veer back now to Easter tournament, where that festival is going to be holding a lot of the teams that are coming through the ranks, should I say, not your top tier teams. That's good for development of rugby in Zimbabwe, because you're giving those kids an opportunity now to compete at a higher level.
Yeah, I'm sure, Mark, you can agree with me, but the COVID section, I mean, that's a swear word amongst us these days, is that blooming COVID. However, COVID was very detrimental to government schools in particular, because they were the ones who were constantly under the microscope. And so I think, I stand to be corrected, but I think some government schools have still got some lockdown protocols in place.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reasons why COTCO, going back to, has also not taken place, or the dairy board's thing, because they've been trying to do the right thing, etc. I think there's also an element that COTCO maybe got just too big, for them to manage, and so quantity was overtaking quality. However, I do believe the more people are playing, the better it is for rugby. If we can find the balance between the two, brilliant. The tournament in Bulawayo, the Easter tournament that you're talking about, there are some big guns playing. Churchill are playing, CBC is playing, Prince Edward's playing, and
so Listaz will be live in the house.
I'll be live position, thank you.
But you know, when you got, it's like, you know, when you play club rugby and you rub shoulders with a guy who's played Sables, you're rubbing shoulders with a guy who plays Cheetahs. You know, it's lekker to run next to the soak and learn from him. And when you play against these guys, I mean, playing sevens back in the day, and we played against the Blitzbox when I was playing for Goshawk Sevens.
How did that go for you, my boy?
Not well. But we played, you know, Matt, I get to say I played against the Blitzbox, and it was such an experience. And that is wonderful. So well done to Prince Edward Churchill for going down to Bulawayo. And they are doing their bit, guys. So let's give them their credit.
Yeah. Okay, we're on international sports, so we're moving off soccer onto rugby. There's a lot of rugby to be discussed. John Plumtree coming back to the Sharks, boys.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
It is a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was assistant coach to the All Blacks. He's been to the Sharks before. Durban was his home. Coming back to his second home, I mean, that's good stuff.
Yeah, you know, South Africans, they like to say, no, we want a South African to coach South Africa because they understand our thing. Here you've got a Kiwi who understands South Africa. I mean, this is now, you want to bring in something from outside and not just some random oak who does it. He knows South Africa.
I just must say, he's going to,
lovely.
It's a typical Shark thing to do.
Yeah, love it. That's outside the box.
Yeah,
They've got Rock Nation behind them, who cares? They make it money.
I think there are a lot of surprises coming out of from the Sharks in the coming season, because if they've allowed Vincent to come back and, you know, like you said, we want a South African guy who can do our thing. Yeah. Now they've gotten him to come through as another coach, part of the team. Now this is going to be something else. We're having the Sharks on the field.
But it's not been confirmed yet. But he is the hot favourite, and the Sharks would be an absolute masterstroke if they got his signature on that paper.
Just quickly, URC, the Lions toppled the Bulls on Saturday. That was a good one.
Unexpected.
Who do you support?
I'm a Bulls fan.
It was a total.
I didn't expect that.
Manchester United and Bulls fan. It's tough out there, boys. It's tough out there. Let me explain to you.
I didn't see that.
How much money did you lose this weekend?
No, that's not for me. I just watch.
I just want to say, what Jake White is doing in splitting his squads and his plan for the future is not based on now. He's doing one of those World Cup things. So let them have their time. Let them go through what's going on at the moment, but he's got a very good plan for the future, and I understand what he's doing.
I just hope his supporters are patient enough for that.
I'm patient.
Jake White was the former Springbok supporter, wasn't he, Matt?
Well,
not supporter, coach.
Yeah.
But
No, he knows what he's doing. It was just, he got a bit political, and you don't do that.
There's also talk about the mighty Cheetahs from Bloemfontein, who potentially might get a little pink ticket, to get into the URC. Is that going to happen with the Welsh team? Dismal. Do they get the opportunity? I mean, are they not the most unlucky side in the world, just to the way things have happened there?
Yeah, look, the Cheetahs, it's not like they underperformed. They were replaced because Super Rugby imploded, basically. And so they were replaced by the bigger unions that would have suffered more. But now when you've got Wales, and they've got 4 teams, and their teams are all, for lack of a better phrase, rubbish. They are not performing. In fact, the Ospreys, it's now all over social media, that the Ospreys are going to be bought out by Ealing Trailblazers from London. So a London side is going to buy out a Welsh side and then replace them. So, yeah, it's lacquer for the URC. They get to include one more. However, I think the Cheetahs, I think they need to throw their name in the hat.
It's hard for people who don't talk English to get invited into English rugby. Do you understand?
yeah.
The Italians are doing well.
They said, please can you send it in Achneer? You know what I mean?
No, but
Send it with it.
But the thing is, Matt, Robbie, guys, if you look at the URC if you look at the URC as it is now, I mean, the Scots only have 2 sides. The Italians only have the 2 sides. And look how well Scotland's doing.
Yeah.
You know, they've also cut their budget. Wales, their biggest thing is that their budget, they've got to spread across 4 teams. And Robbie, I just want to go back to that Bulls-Lions game. I mean, they recently had a meeting with the Lions players. They said, right, we don't want any of the coaches involved. They just want to talk themselves. And so the players went and took ownership. So we're not too sure what the details were, but from being a player and having seen similar things in my lifetime, I can guarantee you that those guys are saying, Oaks, these coaches depend on how we perform. Yeah. We've got to start pulling finger. Yeah. And they have now won 2 massive games, one against Glasgow, one against the Bulls away.
So what you're saying is they could have had a hat top and said, right, buggers, how much can we put in for the ref?
Wow.
We are coming up to elections.
Someone found a sponsor.
On international sport, what team do you support?
We are checking out
Chelsea.
Very quickly, guys. Something big happening this weekend. Manny, just a quick brief on it. I mean, the Chigutu touch ball has just imploded into something brilliant.
No, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Yeah, we've got 3 teams.
Yay!
Mox and Nate is going to go for a run. So let's see how that goes.
Literally.
Have to run
I
a lot.
I told him to take a bout. And yeah, we're going to have a great weekend out there. We will be sending some videos of the weekend. And let's hope we win a couple of divisions. We did last year. So we only hope for the best.
Listen, Wackett, we're going to have to also just find out, we've got a question in the audience, just quickly, which is directed to you.
So this is a question for Mox. I know you're going for the Chigutu Sevens at the weekend, and you're traveling for that, but he traveled at some point along the line a few months ago, and you borrowed money from me in Cape Town. You said it was for condoms. Am I going to get the money back?
Yeah.
So I know you're traveling to Djibouti this weekend, bro. But when you traveled to Cape Town, you borrowed some money from me. You said it was for condoms. Am I going to get the money back?
Okay.
What happens in Cape Town stays in Cape Town,
Including your money.
Guys, we're just going to say thank you very much. Please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Banter. Make sure that you like our Facebook page, and please follow us on Instagram. We are growing, we're getting out there. If you want us to come to one of your events, we are there. We can make it. Check us out on your Facebook page. If you've got any events that are happening, let us know, and we can also try and give you a punt and try and get your event out there and really get behind Babwe. From our live audience, thank you very much. Yay!